All right, good morning. Looks like we just lost Eric. Something happened with his laptop. So I don't know if he's going to try to join from his phone, but Eric, if you can hear it, you could probably go to your email and join through your phone. Do a phone link there if you want this morning. Otherwise, we'll just get rolling this morning. So good morning. What a tough day, man. Tough day yesterday from all points. And the first thing that I have to start with is Detroit. We are, we're better than this. Now, I'm not a native Detroiter. But what happened yesterday after the game, I had no idea what was going on. I was in the car getting ready to head back, and it was just a flood of police everywhere. I didn't put two and two together. Like, I didn't think that there was a major issue going on. I just kind of thought that they were just, I don't know, getting out of there, right? Going back to the police station, ending their day. I don't know. I mean, there was still a lot of people down, in Eastern Market and where we were. And it's crazy to me that we now have to talk about a shooting death with the Detroit Lions football game, post-football game. Now, the Detroit Lions and obviously this altercation that happened are not synonymous. They're not, they should never be mixed together. But this was a collection of Lions fans together, tailgating, drinking, having fun, whatever they're doing, not drinking, eating, just enjoying the day. And afterwards, fight breaks out. Someone decides to be a wimp and pull a gun. And now someone is dead. And another person's in critical condition. And one person's going to be facing a ton of charges. That's all per the Detroit Free Press. So, according to police chief James White, tailgating, drinking, and guns, they just don't mix. Now, some of us have, concealed weapons permits, but I myself would never bring, something like that to tailgating or wherever there's alcohol. I mean, you're not supposed to anyway. I mean, it's just part of have a brain, Some people just apparently don't have brains. But I guess what happened to the old days, and I'm not inviting, negativity or, for people to get into fights with each other. But what happened to the good old days of, meet me at the dumpster at 3 p.m.? The good old fisticuffs. Well, when did we become sissies in this world? That everything has to surround weapons, and it's just far too often. It seems like every year now we have to talk about something. And this is the first time we've had to talk about it with the Detroit Lions being somewhat involved, right? I mean, not them personally, but it was after the game, right? It's Detroit Lions fans. I have no idea if this individual is even a Lions fan. I have no idea if they were in a Lions jersey or any of that stuff. You know what I mean? It wasn't there. I have no idea. I can only go based on what I can read here. And James White, chief of police in Detroit, said that he was troubled by what he described as a lack of conflict resolution. It didn't have to lead to this. You've got, unfortunately, 2 people shot, 1 dead, and you have a suspect that's in custody. That's, going to be dealing with some very serious charges, likely murder. What it did read, though, is the individual that had the weapon had a CPL. So not sure if he was trying to protect himself, stand his ground, or whatever. I'm not going to make any allegations or assertions. More information will follow. But I'm not going to spend any more time on it. This is stupid, people. This is absolutely stupid. This taints the city of Detroit. It taints, the good people that are celebrating their Detroit Lions before and after the game. Just don't do it, man. Take your crap elsewhere. Not here. We hang out in Shed 2, Shed 3. And this is at Shed 6. Just right down the road. Got innocent kids walking around, innocent bystanders, fans, and just enjoying the day. People traveling, that hear all the negativity about Detroit, and then this happens. I get it. Tensions are high. Lions lost. Don't have to fight about it. So my heart goes out to the people involved, man, and to the families involved. This is it's not cool. Not cool. It's just not football, right? This is not what we're about. So we'll move on from this. I hate talking about this stuff, man, but it really puts a damper on the day when this type of stuff happens after such. I mean, it was a great game by many accounts. I mean, yeah, the Lions showed up, came up a little bit short. But it was a hard-fought game. We knew that Tampa Bay was going to come in and prepared and ready. It's the third game in a year, so it's tough, man. It is tough. I don't know if Eric's going to be joining by his phone or not. I don't see him in the chat. So anyway, good morning. Let's welcome in the chat this morning. We got Trace. We've got Michael Garrity. We've got Peter Van Larhoven in the house. We have Jay-Z, Nick P, Mike P, DLR Van Halen, Roger Olowski, and Lauren McQuaig. Good morning. Yeah, Lauren's tired too, man. Yeah, I'm tired, man. It was a long day. Long day. These games are always long when you have to travel. It would probably make more sense to just stay there for a day, but not too much to do. Nick P says, now Detroit is looking at their worst nightmare. Mobile quarterback playing out of his mind in Kyler Murray. What did I tell you guys? I'm not going to get to the Arizona today, but I told you to watch out for Arizona. I told you Arizona was going to be the 2024 version of the 23 Texans. Even though they don't have a rookie quarterback this year, they were getting Kyler back. And I told you that team is going to be an extremely difficult team, and these Detroit Lions have a very, very tough schedule. Even though I didn't see a loss for a long time to start this, it was hard to find a loss. But we were also considering the fact that it's not, how do I put it? I didn't think that the offense wouldn't show up. I guess that's the simplest way I can say it. I didn't think the offense would show up. So it is what it is. You got Chat Sports in the house this morning. Good morning. Bucky in the house. Good morning. Who else is in here? Big Papa's in the house. That name come after the real Big Papa, Biggie? Just curious. All right, so let's get to some notes about this game. First and foremost, though, PFF, what are they doing, man? They're not even awake today. I went to premium stats for the Detroit Lions and tried to pull down because I wanted Justin Skewell's stats right away. That's what I really wanted last night. Wasn't there. Checked it again today. Wasn't there. But there's not even any stats for Jamison Williams. It's like they forgot about the Lions. So far, he has 8 targets and 5 receptions and 121 yards on the year, and we know that's not factual. They don't have any information in from yesterday's game, which I found very weird because usually the stats are there. Like, they are loaded in quickly. So, I don't know. Maybe everyone had the day off yesterday? I don't know. So, that's going to be tough for me to really talk and go deep into stats today because it's not there. And we do rely, even though we dislike PFF for some of the narrative-driven stats, we do like some of the other stats. I could pull it in, I guess, another way. We just won't have any grades. We could just do the box score, I guess. All right, so up on today's show, we're going to talk about boom or busted plays of the week. And that is presented by SportsSpider.
The season is here, and you want the latest news and rumors on your Detroit Lions. Head to sportspider.com. That's sports, SPYDER.com, where you can get your Lions news and all your sports in one place. Man, this site is packed with your favorite podcasts, live news, articles from local writers, and insiders, all updating in real time. Not just the Lions, every major sports team, including MMA, UFC, and so much more. Don't want to waste time searching? Sign up for free. Create your ultimate sports news hub. You control what hits your feed at SportsSpider, your number one source for all your sports. Visit SportSpider.com today, right after the show.
All right, so we have boom or busted plays of the week. I guess I'm going to kick it right off with Jake Bates. So Jake Bates obviously has been a topic of conversation for quite a while. One of the first creators out there to talk about Jake Bates. Matter of fact, I was on the phone with somebody when I was watching the kick, the first kick at Ford Field, and quickly put out a video talking about Jake Bates that day and how he was going to be a great fit to the Detroit Lions. And I've never wavered from my thoughts on Jake Bates. I've never said that he was going to be a problem. I never said that, he wasn't going to be able to become a good kicker in the NFL. I've never said that. I've always said to just give the kid some time. And now, from a kid that went from 7-16 in training camp, versus the Giants or whatever, had a bad day, right? Long day in the heat. It was a tough day for him. There was some people, a lot of fans thinking, did we just make a mistake? Do we need another kicker? You're Jake Bates on boom or busted plays of the week this week and every week until he decides to miss one. Right now. Oh, that's the wrong one. My bad. I hit the wrong key. Boom or busted plays of the week. Or is it busted? No, it's not busted. Jake is a boom this week because he's still 100%. Count him up, 100% on field goals and extra points. His long of the season so far is only 35 yards, but we know you could flip those numbers around and he can knock them from 53 and beyond. And that's going to be my question for Dan Gamble's of the game this week is, did Dan gamble the wrong way? He's got 18 points on the season, which firmly puts him in the middle of the crowd this season so far. And Eric, I'll get to you as soon as I get through this segment. He's got 18 points. Next up, we're going to talk about Jameson Williams. So Jameson Williams, is he a boom or a bust player of the week? Well, I would say he's another boom. Like, this guy is showing up each and every week. Here we go. Boom or busted plays for Jameson.
Busted.
Absolutely a boom. J-Mo yesterday had an amazing catch. Let me get to some of his stats here. Where did it go? Slowing myself down. Slowing my stuff down here. It's so weird when you look up stats, for some reason it starts pulling up the January game all the time, which is kind of weird. It's a hot game. Playoffs. All right, so where's his box score here? All right, so J-Mo, I mean, he had a good day, right? He showed up, early in the game, but then he kind of disappeared. But I'm still going to give him a boom on the day, simply because, I mean, he was the only one that was doing anything early in this game. I mean, him and Jared Goff connected on yet again another deep ball, and J-Mo just finds a way to get behind the defense. And he had some bracketed coverage there, in the second half, and he kind of disappeared, but he was 5 for 79 on the day, 15.8 yard average once again. And look, he's electric, man. He had 11 targets. I mean, Goff put up the ball 55 times, but here's what I'm not seeing from J-Mo. No drops. I'm not seeing any drops from this guy. Jameson Williams is putting in the work. He put it in all offseason. He feels comfortable in his body now, meaning he's past the knee issue, and he's clearly in a much better headspace, and it's showing up now weekly in his stat lines. We didn't win the game, but J-Mo definitely wins another boom of the week, man. He just has to continue doing what he's doing, and when both the offense and the defense decide to click, the Lions are going to be unstoppable this season. Now, I don't track Amon-Ra St. Brown for boom or bust of the week, but again, I got to give him a shout out because a quiet, very, very quiet day, only 11 receptions for 119 yards for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Kind of quiet for him, right? What an amazing athlete he is. He just does what he does, and you don't even realize it's even happening. And I've said this just about every time I'm at a game, and he gets 10 catches, and he goes over 100 yards, and you don't realize it's happening. Unless you count every single one and you're there making notes, You just don't realize it's happening. And I said it last night. He's got this little swag to him where he does like this sidestep and it creates a little bit of space. And there's only one other player, Golden Tate, that I've noticed that did that. And I'm sure there's others, but I guess I really don't notice it. But as soon as he's catching the ball, it's almost like as soon as the ball gets, within, I don't know, a foot or two, he seems to already be moving into the ball, away from the defender, and it creates a little bubble of space. And that gives him the opportunity to create more yardage on the play, some more yak yards. So pay attention to that when you go and watch tape, or when you're watching Amon-Ra St. Brown in the next game, or this weekend. He creates this little bit of bubble space, and that's what gives him the opportunity to get more yak yards. But definitely a boom for Amon-Ra St. Brown, even though we didn't win the game. He still had a good game. So next up on Boom or Bust of the Week, well, it would have been Marcus Davenport in this spot, but since he was injured, it is Aiden Hutchinson.
Busted.
Now, last week we had a lot of pressure. We could not get home as often as we wanted to with the quarterback, but this week was a much different story. Justin Skule was in at right tackle. I really wanted to see his grades today. I'm sure it's absolutely pathetic. But this is what you get, from a third string right tackle. Aiden Hutchinson should absolutely be able to take advantage of a third string right tackle. And when you insert a player like DJ Reader, who's going to eat up double teams, and you have a dog like Ali McNeil, who's going to take up double teams, there is absolutely no reason why Aiden Hutchinson shouldn't have a day like he had yesterday. It's expected. And if it doesn't happen, I would be surprised. So going forward, if we are not going up against the number one offensive lineman, and we have all of our guys in the game on the defense, Aiden, Aleem, DJ, and Marcus, there is no reason why this team can't have a ton of sacks. Not that sacks matter, right? Because they didn't win the game yesterday. And I've been saying this now forever. Sacks have no bearing on winning a game. You had 5 sacks in a game yesterday that you lost by 4 points. You kept the team to under 20. That's great. That's exactly where you need to be. But we couldn't get our offense going. Now, had the offense been able to produce yesterday, then yes, the conversation probably would have been on the other side of the tongue, right? It would have been the sacks are exactly what you needed. And the sacks are what helped you win the game. This defense put this team in position to win multiple times, and 2 additional times in the last 3 minutes of the game, which was exceptional. I mean, the entire defense played well. And you're not going to get those sacks again without really good DB play either. So I have to go back and look. Not all the stats are available. I have to go back and look at the pressure stats and how quickly the Detroit Lions were getting home. I could probably pull it up real quick. Let me see if I can. But I don't want to take too much time away, because we're still going to probably talk about some of this stuff tomorrow when we actually get the PFF stats. I can't believe that they're not available right now. Where is it? Where is it? Come on. All right, so next gen stats. Next gen stats. Yeah, it's going to take me too long to pull it up. It just didn't come right up for me. All right. So I'll get into that tonight. Hopefully we'll have that prepared tomorrow. But Aiden's definitely a boom on the day. Huge game for him. Huge game. Here's my only gripe, though. When we get too far behind a quarterback, you see what Baker can do. If you're not going to plug up the lanes, right? If you're not going to keep gap integrity in check, even when you're rushing the quarterback, you still have to make sure that your gaps are tight. And that didn't happen yesterday. They were too spread out. And so, even though you're all around the quarterback, use this microphone, you're all around the quarterback, but you got a big gap here, right? And you got a big gap over here and another gap over here, but you got 3-4 guys behind Baker. They're working from behind instead of straight in. It's all about angle. Now, Aiden did have better angles yesterday, way better angles. Those gaps killed us because Baker would scamper for a first down. And when he would scamper for a first down, and then the next play he completes a long pass to Chris Godwin or whatever for a touchdown, those are the plays that hurt you. So when you completely sell out and you don't have anybody on the backside or the front side of Baker, keeping those gap integrities tight, that's what happens. Even though he only scampered for 35 yards on the day, it was enough to win the game. So sacks don't always equate to wins. They never have. They never will. What would have equated to wins yesterday is the offense doing something. Just doing anything. Just scoring 3 touchdowns. There's no reason why your offense can't score 3 touchdowns. That's my mark for any offense that has, is a good offense. The Lions are an elite offense. There's no reason why they can't score 21 points. And that's why the other number is 20. If you can hold teams to 20, there's no reason why your offense shouldn't win the game. But yesterday was a dominant defensive performance. It's exactly what we need to see by Aiden Hutchinson, but I'm going to warn you about something. And I'm not going to take all of his flowers away. But what does he do against number 1 right tackles? That's the number I need you to look at and believe in. Because I'm going to give you the straight shooter type of stuff here. Right? It's going to be the straight information. It's going to be the real. It's the raw. It's the information that matters. If you want Kool-Aid, this isn't the place for you. But I'm going to tell you that against number 1 tackles, his numbers are in the gutter. Against second and third tier tackles, his numbers are great. Same thing in college, even though we're going to separate Saturdays and Sundays like we always do on this show. Of course, I looked at his college information before entering the draft. Same thing. In his last year at U of M, up against a top 25 offense, I think he had 3 sacks against OSU and 1 sack against MSU in his final year. And I think the other 16 sacks were against offenses that were related below 80th. 80th in college football. There's only 130 teams or whatever in college football. So 80th, average 80th offensive line is where Aiden did his damage. Same thing we're seeing right now in the NFL too, is his sacks are coming against players or offensive lines that are not, they're not dominant, right? They're not that great. They're towards the bottom end of the league. But I'm not going to take all of his flowers away because what he did yesterday was completely insane. It was awesome to watch, awesome to be a part of. Next up on Booms or Busts of the Week, and then as soon as I get through this, I'll see if we can get Eric in. James Houston wasn't in the game for an entire game, but it was good to see him out there. Immediately when I saw James Houston enter this game and have an opportunity to rush the quarterback, you could see that his speed was there. He had great speed on the outside. He was using his bend. It did not look like his ankle was limiting him at all. But I kind of got to give James a bust of the week.
Busted.
Only because he didn't do much. He wasn't inserted enough into the game plan. Maybe he could have been utilized a little bit differently by the defensive plan, but the Lions didn't put him in there a ton, and I don't have his snap counts. I could try to get it, but I know that I didn't see him in there very often. But I got to back that up with a fact here. So, let's take a look at the snap counts for James Houston. He still looks quick though. He still looks fast. So I've heard the complaints. I've read the complaints that maybe James Houston has lost his step, and I don't believe in that. Absolutely don't believe in that. And it was on display yesterday. Come on. James Houston played 3 snaps. 3 snaps in his return to the lineup at edge. 3. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Told you I didn't see him in there a whole lot. But the time that I did see him in, he looked good. He looked good. Why he wasn't in more often doesn't make any sense to me. Is what it is. Last up on Booms or Bust for the week is Tim Patrick. So is Tim Patrick a boom or bust on the week?
Busted.
Even though Tim Patrick did not score a touchdown, this guy, can't say kid, right? Absolutely a boom of the week. He was open on probably 3 or 4 plays, and it was early in the progression. Early. Like, there's no reason why Jared Goff shouldn't have found Tim Patrick. Now, it almost seemed like Jared Goff had a blinder on one eye. And what I mean by that is he knows that he has not spent a lot of time with Tim Patrick, and I think that Jared Goff was looking down his receivers just a little bit too much yesterday. So much so that McCollum had a crazy good day, and he shouldn't have. Tim Patrick could have saved this game for us on a few plays, and we'll get into that tomorrow night on the film review that we do with our members only. If you're part of the second tier in the film review, that's where we open it up. But tomorrow night, I'm going to open it up to everybody, just so everyone can get a little bit of an opportunity to join us for the film review. And then if you want to upgrade, you can from there. But we'll give everyone, the first hit is free, right? That's what they always say. The first taste is free. We'll have some fun with it tomorrow night. Let's get a lot of people in there. It'll be right around 7 p.m.-ish that we'll do the film review. So Tim Patrick was wide open for a few plays, and he did snag a ball for a first down. But he had 2 catches, his stats, 2 catches for 12 yards, 6-yard average, a long of 10, 3 targets on the day. Great hands. Great hands. I mean, watching him warm up, this guy's got sure mitts. Like, he's going to be a player for the Lions. Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, they have to get him inserted. I was completely blown away yesterday that we needed a touchdown at the end of this game, and you've got all of your biggest players off the field besides Sam Laporta. Tim Patrick needs to be in the game at the end of the game. But then again, we weren't throwing the ball to the end zone. So that is a huge problem. It's been a problem. I don't know why this offense does a few things really poorly. They stutter in third quarters. They don't take shots at the end zone. And we don't have any big-time receivers that can go in and body somebody and snag a ball in the end zone and close out a game. That has to change, and it has to change soon. Otherwise, we could have a pretty tough season. Teams have figured this out. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit worried. I'm not panicking, but I am a little bit worried that this is 2 weeks in a row now that we've had bracketed coverage over Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. And it's being flip-flopped. So now we have to be the aggressor. We have to expect it. And now we have to have a game plan. We being the Lions. They have to have a game plan on how to use that against them. You're going to bracket Amon-Ra. You're going to bracket Sam Laporta. It's time to use it against you. I forgot to get into a super shout-out here. Michael Garrity, apologize, I missed it. Just popped up in front of me. Says, please smash that like button, everyone. Thank you. Michael wants us to get above 50 at least to start. Michael, appreciate you, man. As always, it was good to see you at the game yesterday, too. Smash the like button. We do not do ads on this channel. Yes, we're the original channel not to do ads. We don't do ads because we want to make sure you have a seamless interaction with the show while you're in here live. So the goal is to get in here live. You can always watch it or listen to it later. We're going to try to get things uploaded to the podcast platforms again. I need help. I need some more people to help do some things, and we'll get it done. Another shout out here to the Buck fan, Grislow. Good game, win for us with 4 starters out. Absolutely was. And shout out to the Bucks fans, man. I had a good interaction with Port Lou, I think is what he goes by. But Lou yesterday on Twitter donated to the Rock Down Cancer Foundation. We had a great interaction on Twitter, just having a conversation. And hey, that's what it's all about, right? We don't need to do what happened in Detroit after the game. Like, we can have good conversations, whether it's with other podcasters, other content creators. I would beg the question as to why more people aren't collaborating together, why they aren't, working on things together. I guess some people just have too big egos. I don't know. I don't. I'd rather work with everybody. That's why you don't see solo shows over here. We try to stay engaged with fans, with other creators, with other fans, because fans of other teams, because that's what it's all about, man. This is it's about football and fun and camaraderie and building relationships, and people like Grislow, obviously good dude. So Bucks are very, very good fans. They always have been. Even though they were a little spicy this week, they needed this win. Man, this was a huge win for them. Huge win. And they're on their way, man. We're going to see them back in the playoffs, just like we probably will see the Rams. But I don't know. Rams kind of look shoddy yesterday. They didn't look so hot. They could fall off. It was a tough defense, though. Back-to-back, two tough defenses the Lions have faced. So that's it for your booms or busts of the week. Let me see if I can get Eric in here. Let's see if I can get him in. I don't even know if he's in the waiting room. Let me see if he's in there. Yeah, I still don't see him in there. Well, now I do. Hold on. Now I got him. Try to get it fixed. So he's obviously at an Airbnb. He doesn't have everything set up. He's having a little issue this morning with his computer. All right. I think we got him now. Hold on. All right, Eric,
there we go.
You're going to have a little bit of a funny video, but go ahead and test your audio for us.
So how's everything sounding?
You sound like you're underwater, but is your microphone not working?
Oh yeah, I have it plugged directly into my phone.
Okay, we'll deal with it for now. It's all good. So, did you hear the first segment there?
Yeah, I did.
All right. So, what do you think about the booms or busts of the week? I did Jake Bates. Obviously, the kid is 100% on the season. No worries about him right now. But I would say this: Were you a little bit taken aback yesterday that we had a 58-yard attempt? I thought that we were going to trot Jake Bates out there, and we punted it.
I was actually absolutely miffed. I'm like, why are we not using our weapon in Jake Bates? That's the whole reason we brought him in, was for long field goals. They let him kick that field goal and he makes it. At the end of the game, no issue. We can just kick a field goal to win the game. We're not down by 4. We don't have to score a touchdown. That's the problem. We don't have to score a touchdown on every single drive. And that's what it seemed like yesterday. If we didn't get a touchdown, then damn it, we weren't getting any points whatsoever. And it really miffed me yesterday at the game that we didn't try to kick more field goals. And then the thing right before the half was absolute stupidity. I couldn't believe that happened.
Yeah, so I forgot about something too, but we'll talk about it right now. I'm going to move on to Tim Patrick. He might be up for plays of the week too. The stiff arm. Shout out to Jay-Z for reminding me in the chat. That stiff arm was that was the second week in the row the Detroit Lions receivers have put a crazy stiff arm on somebody, and it was needed, man. He got him a few extra yards. It was a great play. What do you think about Tim Patrick yesterday? I know he only had a few catches, few targets, 2 catches, 12 yards, but the much needed catch there, which helped the Lions, to get a first down. I saw him wide open at times. What was your vantage point there in the tunnel? You're in the corner again, right?
Yeah, I was right at the tunnel. And listen, there were a couple of plays. There was one in particular where Tim Patrick was open deep, like wide open. And instead, Jared Goff kept like absolutely focusing on either Amon-Ra or JMO. And he just was giving no one else a look. Sam Laporta wasn't getting looks. Tim Patrick wasn't getting looks. None of the other wide receivers were even getting a glance. And he was so absolutely focused on trying to dink and dunk that when someone was wide open by 15 yards over the top, he didn't see it at all. It was like he had absolute blinders on, like you were saying earlier. It absolutely boggled my mind. We could have won this game going away, and we should have. I mean, what did we put up? Over 400 yards of offense. They put up 200 yards of offense. We beat them in time of possession. We beat them in rushing. We beat them in passing. Our defense had 5 sacks. Our defense held them to under 100 yards rushing, under 200 yards passing. What more can we do? I just don't know what else we can do. To me, this whole game boils down to coaching and some really bad focus by our quarterback. It wasn't that he played bad. It was that he just wasn't seeing open receivers, and it drove me nuts yesterday. I was screaming all game.
Yeah, a couple of points from the chat. So Motown Mitch says, no one is really bringing this up. This is why we have a preseason, so guys can knock off the rust. Yeah, I mentioned that yesterday or last night, Mitch. I'm a little baffled too that we didn't get the guys in for at least a couple of series. I understand that Dan Campbell's probably trying to prevent injury, but we know one thing is for certain in the NFL. If you're going to have an injury, it's going to happen. It doesn't matter if it's preseason or regular season. It's more than likely, it's going to happen, especially injuries like, an Achilles, those tend to just be an issue of it's getting worn down, right? And it's starting to get shredded a little bit and it just snaps. Some of them are turf driven. Some of them are impact driven, but the non-contact injuries, I think, is maybe what Dan Campbell is probably trying to prevent. They're going to happen. We got to get these guys in for the preseason. The other thing that I wanted to shout out in here is Nick P says Tim Patrick and Goff work together all week. They should. Nobody else in Goff's eyes. J-Mo and Amon-Ra can work with Hendon. I think what he's trying to say here is just let Hendon work with some of these first team guys. Let Tim Patrick get more opportunities with Goff this week so that they can develop that relationship a little bit quicker because they're going to need it. And this is why I pointed out the bye week is a great week this year. Now that we're starting to see some of the stumblings that are happening early in the season, we are rusty and Jared Goff needs to knock off the rust. So even if we get to the bye week at 2-2 or 3-1, which is a great place to be, that bye week is going to be much needed for health and for the well-being of this offense to finally get the rust knocked off and gel and move forward. You have a couple of weeks of watching tape consistently, developing a new game plan for the last 3 quarters of the season and go and pound it. Corey Patterson, yeah, I wouldn't agree with that statement saying that Goff doesn't have the arm strength. I mean, look, everyone's been saying he can't hit J-Mo in stride. So far, all we've seen this season is J-Mo's pretty much getting hit in stride every play. Whether it's a crosser, whether it's a deep post, even on broken plays, Goff is finding a way to get the ball to J-Mo in stride for touchdowns and for big plays. So Goff definitely has the arm strength. Matter of fact, I know I've said this again. I sound like a broken record. When you go back and look at the arm strength measurement that was done, I think it was in 2021 or 2020, maybe a little bit before that. It was Stafford. It was Mayfield. It was, Josh Allen. It was Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, all of the quarterbacks. There was 60 quarterbacks that were tested. Jared Goff was in the second tier. So he was only 2 or 3 miles per hour behind Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford and Patrick Mahomes that had the fastest arms, the fastest ball speed. Jared Goff is right behind him. Just because his arm looks like it's moving slow doesn't mean the mechanics behind it, right? You got to remember, was it called a trebuchet? Is that how you pronounce it? The long, like they would toss the cannonballs or whatever, with the arms and the slingshot looking thing. Trebuchet, I think that's what they call it. Just because it looks like it's slow doesn't mean that it's not going to throw that cannonball, half a mile or whatever. Same thing with Jared Goff's arm. Just because it looks like his arm is slow doesn't mean that the mechanics behind it and the trajectory behind it doesn't have enough ball speed. The guy can absolutely throw darts when he needs to. Does he have the arm strength and the type of mechanics to roll out and to evade pressure like a Patrick Mahomes and be nimble on his toes and then throw a ball? No, that's not his game. But Tom Brady didn't have it. Right? Kurt Warner didn't have it. Trent Dilfer didn't have it. A lot of other quarterbacks didn't have it, and they played just fine. I would say that, I'm not picking on you, Corey, because now I'm going off into a different direction here. I would say that when you have a mobile dual threat quarterback, that you're putting yourself into a position of, if you lose that guy, not only are you losing his rushing ability, but you've lost complete defense integrity. The defense no longer has to protect what they were protecting before, and they can pin their ears back and get after you. So I would say that having a dual threat quarterback is actually a detriment to your offense if you lose that individual which we see that they get injured often. Lamar Jackson is injured almost every season. So Jared Goff has the arm strength. Absolutely does. He just doesn't have it in the fashion that you're looking at it probably. And I'm taking a guess here that when you see guys like Lamar or Patrick Mahomes or whomever that are mobile or dual threat, that they can make those plays on the run. Jared Goff doesn't need to make the plays on the run. And I think that's the thing that Lions fans are misunderstanding here is that is not the Lions' MO. Like, that's not how this offense is set up. It is not set up for that. It is set up to be a pocket presence, a pocket passer, outside zone, inside zone, right? Quick hitch routes, quick hitters across the middle, crossers across the middle where there's, where the receivers are not supposed to be hit. You have a little bit of an extra bubble of space there. That's what it's designed to do. It's not designed for a quarterback to have to roll out and make plays. Doesn't mean that it can't be done. Doesn't mean that Hendon won't excel at being able to do some of that stuff, but Hendon also will tuck the ball and run more often than not, and that's going to get him in trouble more often than not, my opinion. But anyway, last Boomer Bust of the week. We didn't see much from James Houston. Tim Patrick, look, he was wide open. And to your point, I want to say it was between the Bucs' third and fourth possession, according to my notes. Tim Patrick was wide open on the second down in the red zone. And if I remember correctly, it was a crosser across the middle from the right side of the screen to the left. And he would have been wide open for about a 13-yard play, which would have been a first down. He might have been able to take it all the way in. That we'll review tomorrow night. So, Aiden Hutchinson, what was your take on Aiden Hutchinson yesterday? Great day. I mean, look, I can't, as negative as I am or perceived to be on Aiden, it's just I come from a place of facts, right, and stats. Aiden had an incredible day yesterday. And these athletes, right, these NFL athletes, every single one of them is good. But there's just something about this right tackle, obviously. Put it this way. Do you think that Aiden would be able to take Awasika or Colby Sorsdahl to the woodshed every play? Probably.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. I mean, we see second and third tier defensive linemen taking Colby to the woodshed, right? If you put Aiden Hutchinson on Giovanni Manu right now, would he take him to the woodshed? Probably. Every play. So even though that these are some great backups, because they are NFL athletes, there's just something a little bit different about second and third tier on a 53-man roster on most teams that a good defensive tackle or an elite defensive tackle, they're going to take him to the woodshed, man. So give me your thoughts on Aiden.
Well, here's the thing about Aiden. I think that he was up against a right tackle that should not have been in the game because of injury. And not that he got lucky. He was good yesterday. But he got there 5 times. That's pretty incredible that he got there 5 times. And I don't know if they were all against that right tackle or if he moved around the line. I really wasn't paying attention to that yesterday. I was trying to see kind of what DJ Reader was doing. I was trying to pay more attention to him. And he seemed to be out there a lot longer than I thought he was going to be. And I think you had a little bit of the DJ Reader effect yesterday, which is going to help Aiden throughout the season. And in my eyes, I think he should have got 4.5, not 5. Some places are crediting him with 5 sacks, and some are with 4.5. I think on that very first one, it should only be a half of one.
Well, the one with Levi is where he's getting credited with a half, and
yeah,
look, I think Aiden was kind of there first, but they were both there kind of at the same time. I mean, it is what it is. It's still a phenomenal day.
You took him out high. Levi took him out low. And listen, I'm not taking nothing away from the kid. Was it fun at the stadium? It was a blast cheering for him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was pretty darn awesome. And listening to him afterward, he was pretty pumped up. And he's got to be the sack leader in the NFL now. Which is kind of cool. When's the last time we could say we had the sack leader in Detroit? It's been a while. So it was very fun. And I don't want to take anything away from him at all. I think he had an amazing day yesterday. And finally, it wasn't in garbage time. It was during parts of the game where we actually needed it, and it helped, and it got us off the field. And if we can sustain that, oh my God, it's going to be fantastic. I don't think we really need to change that much. I really, really don't. I think Goff not throwing so many balls in the dirt. For one, for some reason, he threw 3 or 4 balls in the dirt.
Yeah. So let me comment on that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I watched those plays specifically, and we'll review them tomorrow night. But the thing about him throwing balls in the dirt, I think what people don't realize is they're thinking that that's just Goff throwing the ball in the dirt, right? And that it was a bad play, it was a bad pass, and Goff sucks, this, that, and the other thing, doesn't have the arm strength, whatever you want to say. Some of those plays, he had to throw the ball in the dirt. There was nothing there. The play was busted, so he just dirted it to move on to the next down, right? There was also a couple of plays where there was nobody open, and he threw the ball downfield, right? He was attempting to throw the ball away, but in a way so he does not get, a penalty, right, for throwing the ball away. Intentional grounding. He evades that, right? But he's also putting it in a place where nobody can get it. There also was a play where he was kind of throwing, it almost looked like he was on his back foot, but he was like on his back foot kind of going back and trying to throw the football, and he had nothing behind it. And that ball also went in the dirt, but he was also under pressure, and he was trying to get the ball away to throw it away. So I think that there was 3 or 4 balls that hit the dirt prematurely before it got to a receiver or behind the line. I think there was one left and one to the right side of the line, kind of, forward of the line, but you know what I'm saying. Those were intentional. There was a couple balls that went forward that I'll call into question until I have time to review the tape. But I know that at least 50% of those balls were intentionally thrown into the dirt to throw them away. The play was dead. It was busted. And I mean, look, the Bucs did a great job at covering those flats and taking everything away from Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They limited our screen game, which, I mean, that's what we're known for, is the screen game in the play action pass, and they completely took it away. And when they took that away, they were able to bracket Amon-Ra over the middle, and then that got taken away. But then Amon found a way. Amon-Ra found a way. But Laporta never got going. JMO disappeared. It's almost like they flipped. It's like they flipped from Amon-Ra St. Brown to JMO. But we'll see what the tape tells us tomorrow night. But go ahead. I'll digress.
Yeah, so the defense has me very excited.
Yeah.
If the defense can continue to play this way, I mean, through 2 weeks, we're only allowing 20 points per game. That's pretty great for us, because what were we last year? 27 or 28 points a game, somewhere in that range. And so, I mean, we've shaved off a touchdown a game. That's amazing. And if we can keep this up, we're going to win a lot of games. I'm very excited. I feel better about the Lions than I do the Bears or the Packers or the Ravens or the Cowboys. There are so many teams that the Lions are looking a lot better than them. The Lions just have to clean a few things up coaching wise, and we win both games, and then we're undefeated. We're 2-0. So we're that close. So don't give up faith, everybody. Keep going. We got this. We've never lost 2 in a row for like 2 years. We got this. We're going to win against against Arizona.
Yeah, shout out to my son in the chat, Jade. Good morning, buddy. Love you. Thank you for joining this morning. He says we need to stick to the run, use Laporta like we did last year. Without using Laporta, you're giving the defense one less person to worry about. You have an all-star tight end, use him. Exactly right, kiddo. I think the issue is just the defensive alignment now that we've gone up against 2 weeks in a row. They've really keyed in on our 2 biggest weapons, which is Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. It's going to happen, right? I mean, you've got tape on the guy last year. I mean, he was a rookie last year, so there's no surprise factor anymore. And tight ends that have big games and big seasons, the way that they do it year in and year out is the offense has to get creative. And I don't know that I've seen anything new from Ben Johnson so far to put Sam Laporta in a better situation. And I don't know if they've game planned for Sam Laporta to be effective early in the season, he may not be part of the bigger game plan. Now, I know a lot of fans, including myself, clearly my son, are worried about the fact that Laporta is not getting utilized. And I think when we dive into the tape tomorrow night and kind of figure out, what's going on, what are we seeing from a coverage standpoint here that's limiting his ability? Is it Jared Goff? Does he got blinders on? Is he looking down his receivers too much? Goff usually is a little bit slow to start, it seems like, every season. He'll throw the most interceptions of the season, usually within the first 5 or 6 games, and then that gets limited. And let's move on to some interception stuff here too. There was a couple of interceptions yesterday by Jared Goff, too, to be exact. In the first one, it was like, oh no, first play of the game here, and for Jared Goff, and he's throwing an interception. It was clear illegal contact after 5 yards. Very clear. Wasn't really holding, but it was about 9 yards down the field, and I think it was McCollum that made the contact. I mean, he ran right into Jameson Williams. That is a play that is now that has happened twice. It happened last year to Sam Laporta that wasn't called, and now it happens to Jameson Williams, and it wasn't called. My question to the NFL is why? How do you miss that? You have 2 refs watching this play happen, and you don't throw a flag, but you throw this ticky-tack crap on Terry and Arnold. It does not make any sense to me, other than this was a clear way to affect the game, in my opinion. And that's what Lions fans are going to think, that you're out to get the Lions again. And that there are some refs in this. I'm going to say it. I'll put on tinfoil hat for 30 seconds here. I do believe that there are some refs that just hate the Lions for whatever reason. And they go against the Lions at any opportunity. I mean, how else could you make a mistake that big this early in the game when you're calling things a little bit tighter and a little bit more aggressive to start the game, and you miss a call like that? And it was all over the boards inside the stadium. The fans got on the refs right away. This is why I've asked for the NFL to be able to review these types of plays. Each coach needs to have one extra challenge to challenge a penalty not called on the field. It is not going to slow down the game. But what would it have done for this game yesterday, Eric? It would have given the Lions another opportunity. Right? I mean, you start the game with throwing an interception on a penalty that wasn't called. The NFL has to be better than this. That started this game off in the wrong direction. And I think it's kind of sent a message, whether it's and I don't know if the Lions players internalize this stuff, like thinking, oh God, here we go again. The refs are already, throwing flags on Terrian for things that don't exist. And now you're not turn around our next possession, our first possession, you're not throwing a flag on a clear penalty. So what do you think, Eric? I mean, the Lions need to, ask for another rule to be added. Every year we are asking for things to be added. I think that this is another one that must be added. It has to be a reviewable play, one challenge per game. If you get it right, you get an extra one to review a penalty not called. Now, I know what's going to happen. It's going to start this whole going down the rabbit hole thing, where then if you can review that, then you can review everything that happened during that play. And if there's any other penalty, well, then it could negate that penalty. And that's probably what you're going to see happen, is they're going to find, oh, well, Frank Ragnow was holding and then the, penalty happened against Jameson, and they negate, offsetting penalties. That's probably what you're going to see happen. So I don't know. I think you got to dial it in if they do try to get something installed like this next year, that it can only be this player, this penalty that wasn't called. But time and time again, this continues to happen. All right. What do you think about that?
My thought on it is this: you have to be good enough to overcome a bad call or two by the refs. So that's on us. We weren't good enough yesterday to overcome a bad call or two by the refs. But you want to know how to fix it? I'll tell you how to fix it. You adopt the rules of the UFL, where they're clear, they're transparent, they show you everything. You get to hear everything from New York, everything from every ref, and they stop gameplay for 10 seconds, they fix it, and they make it right after every play. And it doesn't make the games any longer. It makes it more fair, honest, and it's out there for the whole world to see. That's how you fix the NFL right there, is you adopt what the UFL is doing. And if the UFL keeps getting bigger year over year, that's what's going to end up happening. The NFL is going to get pressured to adopt the same rules as the UFL when it comes to dealing with referees and how they show everything. Why the NFL doesn't do that or let some people in to know what's going on. What's being said back in New York? Oh, there should have been a penalty there. You guys should have called one. We don't get to hear that. We don't have a clue what's going on. So we don't know whether it was a ref on the field made a mistake or missed it, or someone in New York missed it, or why it wasn't called. We have no clue because we don't get any of the transparency whatsoever with any of these refs. And in the stadium, I'm going to tell you what, I have to say kudos to all the Lions fans that showed up yesterday, because yesterday was twice as loud as the week before. Yesterday was fantastic as far as the crowd went. I was so enthused, and I was so grateful and happy with the crowd yesterday. The crowd was off the hook amazing yesterday. Super loud.
So Chip Bradshaw says that the refs are in cahoots with the betting lines. I would almost, I could get on that train, right? I always use my, my tagline. I'm in the boat rowing with you. I'm in the boat rowing with you on that one. It seems really odd that if you go back and watch a lot of games, that when penalties start to happen and the scores are a certain, distance apart from each other, blowouts you can't do anything about. But when they're close games, I feel like there's some close penalties that are being called. Can't prove it, right? Can't prove it. But I think that there's something to that, because there's no way, and the reason why I'm saying there's no way that Vegas can get a lot of these things this correct and this close. I understand you got some really intelligent people working for them, thousands of people running numbers and machines spitting out numbers, and we're going to talk about my numbers from yesterday, because, man, did I have a bounce back week. Wow. I had a big time bounce back week yesterday. And we still got one more game tonight. So you had mentioned DJ Reader, and I had said that I thought that he would be lucky to get between 40 to 50% of the snaps in yesterday's game. I said that on Friday. I think he played 25 snaps total in yesterday's game. 25 snaps in his debut. And I want to say that there was let's see, Aiden played 43, which was about 90%. So there's about 50 snaps, I think, in total. Let me back that up. 48 maybe? 49? 47? So there's about somewhere between 47 and 48 snaps. So again, DJ Reader got about 50%. That's what I expected in his debut. I did not expect for him to get in for a full game. You could tell at times a little bit later on in the game that he was gassed, man. The game level is so much different than practice. So much different than a joint practice. You're pounded 300-pound lineman. So DJ Reader was extremely good in the very beginning, first half of the extremely good. Finally, what I've been asking for this entire offseason has come to fruition. And we're going to talk about all that and more right after this word from our
The
sponsor.
season is here, and you want the latest news and rumors on your Detroit Lions. Head to sportspider.com. That's sports, SPYDER.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from uperlights.com.
All right, get into uperlights.com after the show. Get your flashlight. Go out there and hit the rocks. Still got some time, man. It's fall in Michigan, and it is a perfect time to be outside enjoying the weather. We've got, another 10 days of 80-plus degree weather down here. It's kind of a weird September. We had kind of a cool off in August, and now things are heating back up. So what were we just talking about? DJ Reader, got in half of the snaps on the game. I really think that he had an amazing showing in his first game. I've asked, just get us an interior pressure. When you get some interior pressure, you will see that the defensive ends will have more of an opportunity, and that's what we had seen yesterday. So there was an article clip that I wanted to highlight here for just a second, and it was by none other than John Whitaker. And John Whitaker has claimed exactly what I've been expressing the Lions need. And here's what he had said. And this article was last night, 5:30 p.m. He says, the man of the hour was Aiden Hutchinson, notching himself 4.5 sacks, 5 in spirit. In another outstanding performance, Hutchinson was demolishing the opposing lineman as he further cements himself as one of the league's premier pass rushers. That is not to say that he was without help. However, the interior was collapsing the pocket through the game thanks to the work of Aleem McNeil and the debut of DJ Reader. Despite missing Marcus Davenport due to injury, it was another productive outing from the defensive line. Eric, I don't know if you remember, but when I came home and did a show after the first practice I went to, do you remember what I said?
I don't.
I claimed that this is probably the best defense I have seen in my lifetime, and that the only defense that would be even close to this is the 2014 Lions, that had the interior presence of Ndamukong Suh and the Nick Fairleys and good DB pressures, or a good DB makeup, I guess I would say. You had the Glover Quinns, and I think Quandre Diggs was on that team, and a handful of others. So this defense has the ability to be the best in the league, and it starts up front. But what I had said early on, without even seeing DJ Reader in action yet in camp, was that the way that our defensive line was able to press in camp, and the way that the D-backs were able to take care of their assignment in camp, I said once DJ Reader got inserted into this defensive line, you are going to see Aiden Hutchinson wake up. And if Marcus Davenport is healthy, because I don't think he was practicing in camp much around that time either, that once he was healthy, you're going to see this defensive line be one of the most dominant defensive lines in the NFL. We are 2 weeks into the season, and we are already seeing that take shape. DJ Reader is a huge presence in the middle of this defense, and he is exactly the reason why Aiden Hutchinson was able to do what he was able to do yesterday. Also, with the fact that he was going up against a second or third string right tackle for the majority of the game. I think all of Aiden's sacks came from the left side. I don't think that he had any on the right side. But we'll find out tomorrow when we go through the tape, or I'll find out today when I go through the tape. we'll find out the matchups that he had and exactly what was happening on those plays. But I've said it, I've been saying it for a long time, that adding another defensive end was never the answer. It was adding good quality DB play, and it was adding an interior defensive pressure that was going to help Aiden do what he needed to do. Now, yes, we were down another, defensive end yesterday, but we didn't need another defensive end. So for all the people saying we needed another defensive end, yes, we were limited. Yes, I think we still needed some backup help, some depth help. But did we need Daniil Hunter yesterday? No. Did we need Chase Young yesterday? Montez Sweat yesterday? Nobody. What we needed was DJ Reader. What we needed was somebody to get interior pocket pressure, right? Interior pocket pressure. And that alone will give you enough of an opportunity because it's forcing the quarterback to go left or right. And that's what happened. And depending on where the pressure is coming from is going to push your quarterback into trouble. As long as you stay disciplined on the edge, you're going to get a ton of sacks in this defense. Yesterday, we played disciplined at times. We also had some not so disciplined times on this defense where Baker was able to skirt through the middle and find a hole and gash us for a first down or get the ball out, downfield and making plays with his arm. Those are the things that I'm hoping the AG really identifies and cleans up, because as much as we are having success with 4 guys rushing all the time yesterday, it seemed like, we need to have someone coming through the middle. And what I mean by that is I saw Jack Campbell it was Anzalone. Anzalone came crashing through the middle on a play that does not allow Baker to get free. But then they went away from that. And they left the middle wide open. So, you'd have both ends collapsing and the middle collapsing. But then you got this big gap, where the center used to be. Well, of course, Baker's going to step up and through that. So those are the things that have to get cleaned up, in my opinion. Sacks always don't mean wins. And clearly we've seen it yesterday. It gave us an opportunity, but it doesn't always mean wins. Second player of the game yesterday for me was Brian Branch. And not just because of the interception. He was making play after play yesterday. He had a really good day. Whether it was up in the run fits or, back while he was, in playing safety. He had a really good day yesterday. Anything else you want to talk about with the defensive line before we move on?
It's just got to suck when you put up such a performance like that and your defense balls out and you hold them to under 20 points and the rest of your team just can't get it done, whether it's through coaching or the offense. It's just a big disappointment for our defense that we as a team could not pull that game out yesterday.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The Bucs came to play, man. This was a game where one mistake by either team was going to win. And Dan Campbell said that last week. We just made one mistake less than the Rams in week 1. Well, in this game, the Detroit Lions made a couple more mistakes than the Rams or than the Bucs in week 2. And it started with Dan Campbell. And in the end of the first half, the Lions have an opportunity to kick a field goal. They needed to, clock it. They needed to stop the clock and get the field goal unit on. For whatever reason, and I don't think that Dan really explained it yesterday, and I don't know if he's going to explain it. He kind of gave an answer that it was all his fault, but I don't know what happened. Like, we had... Oh, can you mute? Yeah, when you do that, can you mute? That was really loud.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what happened yesterday as to the reason why we are ready to clock it, and then all of a sudden your field goal unit's trying to run on the field. And I'm gonna speculate here because I don't remember how much time was on the field. Maybe there was 14 or 15 seconds. And if you're gonna get your field goal unit on, I think Dan Campbell said you need about 14 or 15 seconds. Right? Is that what I think that's what he was talking about yesterday. I couldn't hear the question. But let's just roll with that you need 14 or 15 seconds to get your field goal unit on and to get the ball up and in and through, right? At least you got to get it snapped within, before time expires. If that's the case, the Lions were in position, right? Jared Goff is on the field. They're not set up to kick a field goal, and then the field goal unit runs on. So I'm wondering if this was a mistake that they had this agreement, an understanding that, hey, if we get down to this amount of time, the field goal unit has to go on. And they just took charge and just went. I don't know if that happened, or I don't know if Dan Campbell said something, over the mics to the other coordinators and said, all right, we got to go. Field goal unit, go. I don't know. No idea. It doesn't make any sense. I would really like to know what exactly happened. Because that just that's a mistake that we don't make, right? In 4 seasons now with Dan, that is one mistake we have never made. I don't even think we've ever had 12 men on the field that egregiously, right? I mean, it's happened with players not getting off the field in time, or you've had an extra defender, enter the huddle. I think that's happened once, but never like this. And I'm not I know Dan's taking it really hard. Like you could tell yesterday, he was so beside himself. And you know what? If he didn't have the emotion, I would be worried. But the fact that he's wearing it and he has the emotion and that he admits to it, that's the mark of a champion, man. It really is. He's accepting his responsibility. And it can't happen again. So what was going through your head, man? We had a chance to at least keep this game a little bit closer than what it was, and that was a much-needed field goal at the end of the game. So that one mistake was a huge mistake that kept us out of this game in the second half.
In real time, live time, I couldn't believe that happened whatsoever. And I thought maybe it was somebody trying to, one running back go in for another one, and I'm like, what are they doing? I thought maybe someone made a mistake trying to, go in for another player, but no, the whole special teams unit had ran on the field. So we didn't have 12 men on the field. We had like 22 men on the field. It was awful, awful. And dude, I just don't get it. Somebody screwed up and somebody's going to hear it in a meeting this week that will never happen again. I guarantee you that mistake will never happen again.
Well, so does that mean you think that it wasn't Dan's fault, that he's just going to take it?
I think Dan's just going to take it. I think that's on FIP or someone else that said, all right, field goal team, and sent them in. They weren't paying attention. Whoever it was not paying attention to the game because Jared Goff is trying to spike the damn ball. You have to let him spike the ball first.
Yeah, we spiked the ball right there. We go up, or at least we had a field goal I don't remember what the score was at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that field goal would have really helped us. So there was that. I mean, obviously that was a huge mistake. It was a costly mistake. Later on in the game, all we needed was another field goal to win this game if we had that field goal. But, I want to say it was in the third quarter. And I got to review the tape today, so I'm guessing.
We would have had three shots in the fourth quarter.
Was it the fourth quarter that we could have had that 58-yarder that we punted?
Yes. 3 times in the fourth quarter, we could have kicked a field goal to win the game because we were down 4 points. But instead, we had to keep trying for touchdowns every time because we were down by 4. We couldn't kick the field goals. And I thought every single time we should have kicked the field goal. I thought we learned our lesson from San Fran, but apparently we didn't. And literally at the end of the game, I thought the game was over. I didn't realize we had 3 timeouts and we could stop the clock 3 times and get one last possession. So like half the fans in the stands started getting up and leaving, and I started to get up, and I walked past Megan, and she's like, "Hey, we still got 3 timeouts." I'm like, "Oh crap!" So I stopped and watched the rest of the game, and we almost did it. We almost
Yeah.
came back and had another chance at the very end, but
So
it shouldn't have mattered.
the play that I'm talking about is it was end of the third quarter, and then it rolls into the fourth quarter. So the Lions were 2nd and 4 on the Detroit 36, and there was a 5-yard neutral zone infraction, which put the Lions up to the 41. Jared Goff threw a pass to David Montgomery. We get up to the Tampa Bay 44. That was a 15-yard play. Then Montgomery runs right tackle to the 44. Montgomery runs left tackle to the 41. Then Jared Goff throws an incomplete pass to Khalif Raymond. And then Fox punts from the 41-yard line. You know, at this point, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we're on the 41, so that is a 58-yard field goal. It is a boot. Yes, it is a long kick. But Jake Bates has the leg. Why would you not take the points here? And I get it. He was trying to pin him deep. But if that ball goes into the end zone and we don't pin Tampa Bay back on the 9-yard line like we did in that play after, Jack Fox's punt, that would have been a complete blunder, in my opinion, of a call by Dan Campbell. You've got to take points whenever you can take points. Your defense was playing extremely well. I would have personally taken the shot at kicking a field goal, and I would have put my defense out there had we missed the field goal and just said, go do it again, because that's how well they were playing. Look, Tampa couldn't move the ball at all in the fourth quarter. As a matter of fact, they didn't score in the fourth quarter. They didn't score but 2 field goals in the first quarter. In the second quarter, they got 1 touchdown in the second. I'm sorry. Let me back that up. They got 2 field goals in the first quarter, a touchdown in the second quarter, a touchdown in the third quarter. They didn't do anything in the fourth quarter. But they really were not moving the ball a ton. The defense was playing well, so you're going to tell me that you couldn't trust your defense at the 41-yard line to just get 1 stop again? Or to limit them to a field goal, so you swap field goals, no harm, no foul. Right? I mean, then you're right back to where you were. But on the ensuing, opportunity for their possession for the Bucs, they punted. They went 4 plays, 14 yards, and punted. And then Jared Goff throws an interception on that next possession, which that one was bad. Now, that one's all Jared Goff. So, look, I credit Goff, obviously, with 1 interception yesterday. I don't give him the first one. Obviously, 2 are going to count. And you know what? You can still win a game with 2 interceptions. You're just not going to win a game with 2 interceptions in a tight game like this. Your defense really has to win the turnover margin. And I said that was a key to the game. You have to win the turnover margin in this game because it was going to be such a close game. And we had 1 less turnover than they did. And you could blame Jerry. You could blame the game on that. You could blame the game on Dan Campbell. And here's where I'm going to end with this part of it. There's about 5 or 6 things, just like the NFC Championship game, that happened in this game that you can all blame for the loss. You can blame it on Dave Phipp or whoever had the blunder at the end of the second quarter with the field goal unit with 12 men on the field. You could blame it on Dan Campbell not doing gambles of the game like he normally would, kicking a 58-yard field goal to start the fourth quarter. You could blame it on Jared Goff's 2 interceptions, which one of them should only have counted against him. You could blame it on the refs for missing some calls, blatant no calls in this game. So there's 4 excuses, right? There's 4. I didn't see any major drops in the game. You could blame the game on Jared Goff throwing a couple of balls in the dirt, which, again, I think I explained that pretty well. A couple of them were intentional. At least you could tell they were intentional. Maybe 1 or 2 of them where he's trying to throw the ball away. They just looked bad. They looked really bad. And I do think one of the balls was just a bad throwing stance, which could have been a pick, right? Could have been a pick. You could blame this on Ben Johnson's play calling. Did not seem like Ben Johnson play calling to me. very awkward day for playing calling. When things were working, all of a sudden we switched to things that are not working. And that just never makes any sense. And it never sits well with me when we do those things. Never sits well with me. So there's 5, 6, 7, 8 things you could find in this game. There's no one thing that you could blame. You definitely couldn't blame the defense. They had a hell of a day. They did what they were supposed to do. They kept this team below 20 points. You could blame the Lions on red zone issues. Tampa Bay's defense allowed a touchdown on just 1 of 7 red zone drives. 14.3% efficiency inside the red zone. They limited the Lions to just 16 total points. Anytime you keep a team under 20, you're gonna have a bigger chance of winning the game. Third fewest points scored by the Lions since the start of the 2023 season, including the playoffs, since 2000. So in the last 24 years. The Buccaneers have allowed 6 or more red zone drives in a single game 15 times. But Sunday marked the first of those games in which Tampa Bay held its opponent to just 1 or fewer touchdowns. This is a team that we should have been able to beat. This was a team that was missing quite a few players, and we still couldn't find a way. Red zone is a problem. That is not who the Detroit Lions are. We are usually really, really, really efficient inside the red zone. Obviously, something wasn't working. It wasn't clicking, and they've got to get it fixed, and they've got to get it fixed in a hurry. McCollum, for the Bucs, he played lights out. His interception marked Tampa's first takeaway of the 2024 season. And then he also had 4 passes defensed and added 6 tackles on the game. He had a hell of a game for the Bucs. I think that's really it that I really wanted to cover this morning. I mean, there's a few other things. You know, Jared Goff is just doesn't seem to be clicking right now. The offense doesn't seem to be on the same page. I think that you're going to see these types of things happen every year. If you don't play in the preseason, you're going to get out the gate and stumble a little bit. They've got to get it fixed by week 3. This is going to be a nightmare of a situation heading into Arizona. Terry and Arnold, he's either got to tamp it down on the aggressiveness, or he's going to have to make adjustments. I think now through 2 weeks, he's got a target on his back. And the NFL refs are going to be looking closely at every play that he's involved in. If a quarterback is smart, they're going to target Terry and Arnold. Because right now, for whatever reason, the refs are all over him. They're calling anything that is even close. He has 4 penalties now through 2 games for like 60 yards. It's crazy. It's not what we expected out of Terry and Arnold. I want to see the guy stay aggressive. I don't want him to lose his confidence. He's a hell of a tackler. He does not allow yak yards. He seems to play with pretty good position. He definitely has the mirror match ability, and he stayed pretty sticky. Even when guarding Evans yesterday, I mean, they limited Evans. Something that you did not expect. But again, I warned everybody about Godwin. I mean, you let him do his thing, and he's just as dangerous. Derek Barnes had a good day, but too many opportunities wasted in this game yesterday. I think just kind of spelled disaster for the Lions, and they've got to get it fixed. They've got to get it fixed. So let's take a look at where I was on my locks of the week so far. Eric, I don't think I tallied yours up. Did you tally yours up yet?
My list is at home, so.
I mean, I have it for you, but.
Oh, I have no clue. How did I do? I probably missed every game, let's see, except for the Bears and the Cowboys game. Everything else I pretty much picked wrong.
I don't know. I don't know if it was that bad.
Felt like that bad.
I mean, you called Houston and Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, you had Denver 23, Pittsburgh 21.
Yeah, that was wrong.
Yeah, Pittsburgh won that game, yeah?
Yep.
And then you had KC over Cincy 35-21. You got that right?
Oh, wow. Amazingly.
Just not the score.
No, I think old Patty Mahomes got helped out a little bit at the end there.
He always does. Arizona and the Rams. You had the Rams 35-21.
Yeah, I
And
didn't get
Arizona
that
won
one.
that game. Washington, you had Washington 17-0 over the Giants.
Well, there's one I got right.
Yeah, Washington won 21-18. Tennessee over the Jets.
I was wrong on that one.
Jets came back and won that one. New England, you had Seattle over New England.
There's one.
And
Yeah, I got a few more right than I thought.
so you got that one right?
Yeah.
And then Minnesota, you had San Francisco over Minnesota, so you got that one wrong.
That was off.
Jacksonville, I had Cleveland over Jacksonville. You had Jacksonville over Cleveland.
Yeah.
All right, Green Bay, you had the Colts over Green Bay. I still cannot believe Green Bay won that game yesterday.
No, and I guess it was their defense that won them that game because Malik Willis threw an interception and had one lucky touchdown.
Now, obviously, you called Detroit to win. We both lost that one. Dallas, you correctly picked New Orleans. So did I. Carolina, we both had the Chargers over Carolina. My score was 31-9. You were 27-3. So you picked Carolina's score spot on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Baltimore, you had you had Baltimore over Las
awful.
Vegas. Of course, I did too. So on a quick look here, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You were 7-8. Well, no, 8 and 9, including the Buffalo Miami game. No. Yeah, you were 7-8. No.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 losses. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 wins plus the Buffalo game. So that would be 8 and 9 on the day. But that just doesn't make any sense to me because there's only 32 teams.
Yeah, it can only be 16 games.
Hold on here. Let me add it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 losses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 wins. My apologies. So you're 6 and 9. 6 wins, 9 losses plus tonight's game. I had a great weekend so far. I only suffered 4 losses out of the first 15 games. I did not get Baltimore. I did not get Detroit. I did not get the Colts, and I did not get Denver. All of the rest of them, I got right. So that was a huge comeback week for me on picks. Like I said, week 1 sucks. It is very difficult. My game predictions for the Detroit Lions in this game. I had 2 interceptions and 4 sacks. We had 1 interception and 5 sacks. Pretty close. I had Tampa Bay under 65 yards rushing. And Tampa Bay, I mean, if you count Baker Mayfield in all of the rushing stats, then I would have missed the target on this one by 5 yards. But if you're just talking running backs, I'll have to delineate between that from now on, whether it includes the quarterback or not. Here's what it is. I only missed it by 5 yards. I had Tampa Bay under 225 yards passing. Baker Mayfield was 185. I had the Lions rushing over 125. Lions had 139. I had the Lions passing over 225. Of course, Jared Goff threw for 100 more than that, 324. I had the Lions TDs. I had two by run and 2 Bates field goals. And we had 1 by run. The only touchdown of the game for the Lions was David Montgomery. And then Jake Bates had 3 for 3 on field goals. So not bad. You had 3 sacks, a sack, fumble, and 2 interceptions. Didn't Aiden cause a fumble during his sack yesterday?
I don't remember.
I thought he did. Let me look.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield had 2 fumbles. He didn't lose either one of them, but he had 2 fumbles. So you called that. You called the sack fumble. We just didn't recover it.
Right on. Yeah, you need to recover it next time.
Yeah. So, not
Damn
a
Huck's
bad
slacking.
not a bad week for me. So if I would have betted a lot of this stuff, I mean, depending on how you bet, if you parlay the crap out of things, you would have probably not done great. But if you would have went over on 4 sacks, or over on 3 sacks or whatever, you would have been spot on. Keeping Tampa under 225 in the passing game, you would have been spot on. Lions over 125 rushing would have been spot on. Lions over 225 passing, again, spot on. And then only missing 4 games this week: Baltimore, Detroit, the Colts, and Denver. One I did not even expect anywhere close to have Detroit or Baltimore lose. And quite honestly, they shouldn't have lost those games, but that would have only given me 2 losses on the week. So right now, I was 6-10 the first week. 6 for 10. Week 2 so far. Week 2 so far. I am 11 for 4 on week 2. So that puts me at 17-14 on the season. 17 wins, 14 losses on my game picks for the season. I don't know how that stacks up, in the grand scheme of things, but it's all about, the war of attrition here. We got to get to the end of the season and see how well we do. I'm expecting in week 3, if I can have another week like week 2, man, that's going to put me up there. So not bad. I just wish I would have correctly picked, maybe the Lions to have one additional stat that would have put them over the top in this game. But didn't happen. It'll be on to week 3 on Thursday is when we really kind of start the new week. I know that there's other people out there that try to start their week on the same schedule as mine, but we've always been consistent in that. Wednesday, we'll get into a little bit more review, but Tuesday night, if you are a member of the channel, you will be in the review starting around 7 p.m. Eric, what else do you have for the day?
Just that
Just what?
our crowd, our fans are so awesome. The sky is not falling. This is not the end of the season. Don't listen to fans from other teams. Just keep your own vision in your head about this team. Don't let all this outside noise come in, because you're going to get all these haters and naysayers saying, "Oh, your team sucks. You can't even beat Baker Mayfield," and blah 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 blah. You guys, coach pissed away another game. You didn't use your kicker once again. Blah blah blah. Don't let all that negative Nancy stuff come into your brain. Stay a true Lions fan. Keep cheering. Keep going to the games. Keep being loud. We're going to help our team. We had a couple of false starts yesterday. Again, I think we've had 6 now on the season caused by our fans being loud in the stadium. Just keep doing that. Keep having fun. And the Lions are going to turn this back around. The sky's not falling. It's only one game. Who do you think at the end of the year is going to have more losses right now, the Vikings or the Lions? I'm going to guess the Vikings are going to end up with more losses than the Vikings.
You mean the
Vikings are
Vikings?
going to have more losses?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Than the Lions.
I warned
at the end of the
everybody
year.
about the Vikings. I told
So
everyone
did I.
that Sam Darnold has an arm.
And I don't believe the Vikings are going to go undefeated. I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh, no.
But
I don't know anyone that's saying that.
I did predict the Vikings to get second place. I did predict the Packers to get last place. They're going to be fighting with the Bears on that one. But just keep the faith. Keep going. We're going to turn this around. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. We're going to have our ups and downs. But we got to do just like the players do. We got to be a little more even keeled when it comes to wins and losses, because everyone just expects a win every single week, and we can't do it every single week. It's just not going to happen.
Well, I
Not
don't know
too many
about all that.
teams
I think that there's, when you look at this schedule, it was really difficult to find some losses based on what we were expecting, right? We expected that the offense, which stayed together, added more weapons, and you would think that they would have just hit the ground running. Michael Garrity, shout out, said thank you again, Eric, obviously, for bringing him to the game. There's looking at the schedule, when we did this a couple of times this year, it was really hard to find losses. What I was just saying is, we expected this offense to hit the ground running, and really accentuate the things they did well from last season, clean up some of the things they didn't do so well last season. But at the same time, you're entering a sophomore season for Sam Laporta. There's tape on the guy. Teams are going to figure out what to do. Amon-Ra has been playing lights out now for 2.5 seasons. There's been tape on him, and nobody could figure him out before. But now I think what you're seeing is defenses are not they're not discounting what the Lions can do. And what I mean by that is, maybe before they got a little bullheaded and they just said, no, we're going to let these guys beat us one-on-one. And if you go back and look at last season, you'll see a lot of teams were playing us straight up. Now they're not. Now they are focused and keyed in on limiting a couple of our playmakers and making us beat them with other guys. Ben Johnson's just going to have to figure that out, and I expect that he will. We took an early loss in the season against a good team, a playoff team. We've had one of the hardest schedules in the NFL, not only to start the season, but to finish the season. And look, I think it's a great test. I think it's a great opportunity for the Lions to get better, right? They're going to learn a lot from this game. They improved, like Dan Campbell said, on defense, big time. We did not improve on offense. For whatever reason right now, it just doesn't seem like we're getting the consistency out of the run game. We're not getting the consistency, with the plays that we were utilizing last season that just seemed to work. If you needed a first down, you knew that you had an opportunity with a crosser with Amon-Ra St. Brown, a crosser with Sam Laporta, or a drag route across the middle from Reynolds, which, maybe that's the issue right now. We are missing that true X receiver. And Josh Reynolds fit the bill for us last season and the season before that. He gave Jared Goff his relief valve, his safety valve. And I had warned people that, you get on Josh Reynolds for dropping a couple of balls, but he did so much more for this team last year to help us get into positions of winning ball games. I could care less what happened in the NFC Championship game, because we probably would have never been there had it not been for Reynolds' playmaking ability in multiple games before that game ever happened. So we're missing an X receiver right now. It's part of the reason why early off in the offseason, I said that we had to get a receiver this year. We had to get that big body receiver. Didn't matter that it would be a rookie. Didn't matter that it would probably be in the 3rd round, which is where I projected the Lions would probably pick one. And as early as the 2nd round. I would even have cared if they took one in the 1st round, to be honest with you. But I'm glad that we went out and got the cornerback. I just did not expect for us to double down, which, again, it's another, testament to Brad Holmes for finding, Ennis Rakestraw in the 2nd round, who obviously slipped. But I think that we probably could have used a receiver. Now, I'm not mad at the choice we made, because I think Ennis the Menace is going to be a very dominant DB in this league, soon. But man, Vaki, we didn't even touch on him. What an incredible performance by a rookie that, again, no one expected to go out and make a play. So Dan Gamble's of the game, that was one that we haven't touched on. Dan Gamble's of the game. Vaki obviously gets involved early in this game. The Lions needed a first down. And let's see, where was this play exactly? Do you remember? I can't remember what
It was deep. I mean,
No,
we
no,
were
no,
on
no.
like
Where at in the game? I can't remember if it was second quarter, third quarter.
it was in the first half.
Let's see here. I should have had this pulled up before, but
I tell you, sitting in the stands, I didn't see it coming.
so yeah, it was second quarter, 9 minutes, 8 seconds is when this possession started. The Lions got to fourth down on the first set of downs. It's 4th and 12 at the Detroit 20. Dan is crazy. The guy is absolutely nuts some days. Nobody expected, obviously, for the Lions to go here. We expected them to go earlier in the game when you get into a fourth down, and they didn't go for it. Maybe it was the setup. It was a setup where an obvious down where Dan Campbell should be going for it on fourth down. He doesn't. And then you get into a position like this where it's like there's no way the Lions are going to go for it, here on the 20-yard line. No way. So Tampa didn't expect it. And Vaki just leaked out into the middle of the field and caught a pass by Jack Fox. What a nice pass by Jack Fox. And I do see some opportunity here for Tim Patrick, which I watched him throw a little bit before the game, just playing catch. The dude can throw the ball. And I would expect to see some opportunities for Tim Patrick to be able to do some trickery plays throughout the season if the Lions decide to use him there. But what an incredible play by Vaki. It's 4th and 12. They complete the pass over the middle, but then we couldn't do anything with it. The next set of downs, we get into another fourth down again, and we go for it again on 4th and 2. David Montgomery, gets 3 yards, gets us another fourth down. So another Dan Gambles of the game. 2 in a row on the same possession. But then it's first down, and we get into another fourth down, and we punt the ball. It just didn't make any sense to me. That we get up to the 48-yard line, and this is obviously another opportunity for the Lions to go for it on fourth down, to do something to put some points on the board. We went for it twice on the same possession. Lions couldn't capitalize on 2 amazing plays on fourth down, so they punt the ball. And then Baker Mayfield turns the ball over with an interception. So, again, we couldn't capitalize on that either. We got no points off of it. I think that's a testament to the day. You get 2 fourth down completions, you punt it, and then you get the ball back 6 plays later, and you still can't do anything with the ball. Man, just a bad turn of events in this game. But Vaki play, man. Eric, tell me what was going through your mind.
It was great to see his first catch. And when he got that ball, man, I thought he was going to break loose. I thought he was going to go for a lot further, but it was fun to see. Great to see. I liked seeing him get his very first NFL catch under his belt. I don't think he's had a carry yet in the run game, but they're going to try to figure out some way to get this kid some touches. And this was the first way to do it, was on special teams.
So I just want to highlight some things. I can't really show this, but I'll show it. When Baker scampered through the defensive line, and I believe he scored a touchdown on this play. This was third quarter, looks to be about 41 seconds left. It's 13-16. Lions are up by 3. Baker runs through the middle, and he goes all the way down for a touchdown. There was obvious holding on the right guard on, looks like, Wingo. There's obvious holding when Wingo tried to turn and go after Baker. There was obvious holding on DJ Reader, not called. So there's just a lot of missed calls in this game that allowed Baker to do what he needed to do to get a touchdown on this play. And I know that we could sit here and blame the refs all day. I don't really want to play the blame game, but man, the NFL's got to be better here. They really do. those points should have never been put on the board. It should have been multiple holding calls that backed them up. But it was a designed run. That's what it was. It was a designed run. So we've got to do better against these mobile quarterbacks. I'm hoping that this weekend we don't get trapped into getting too aggressive, trying to go for sack numbers. They just need to stay disciplined this weekend. I feel like as this game kind of went on, the sack numbers were more important than just staying disciplined. And when you don't play disciplined football and you allow all these little ticky-tacky, plays to develop and little plays to happen that allow the team to continue to move the ball forward, you're going to lose a game. That's why I've always said sacks don't matter, because they just don't. Pressure matters at times, yes. When it's quick pressure, it absolutely matters. Sacks matter when you're changing the field. You're flipping the play. You're causing negative plays that help the defense get off the field. Absolutely matter. It's just undisciplined football, I think, cost us this game. I really do. I think that's my final take on this game. So tomorrow is Tuesday. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m.-ish, we will be doing the tape review for the members only. Just look for the members only link. You will have it. You should get a notification. If you don't have notifications turned on, it would be highly beneficial for you to turn them on so you get notifications. Even as a member, you won't get notified unless you turn them on. That way you know when the video is dropping, or it's actually a live stream. The other thing is we only put out 2, 3, 4 things a day. So you're not going to get a ton of notifications, and YouTube limits it to 3 per day. So you won't get a bunch of spammy stuff happening once you turn notifications on. We should have DC coming back on, I think, this week. We're probably going to review the Tampa Bay game a little bit. And I'll reach out to him again today and figure out when that's going to happen. But I'm looking forward to having him back on to kind of discuss what happened. How do we get better? But then by Wednesday, we're going to be moving on into Thursday's content, getting into Arizona. Man, this is going to be another tough game. Hey, Eric, final thoughts for the day.
Just be safe, have fun, and don't stop cheering for the Lions, man. We're going to turn this around. It's going to be all right. We're going to be okay. Just like last year with the Seahawks game 2, we needed a butt kicking early in the season last year. We needed one this year, apparently.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a good take right there, right? Panic button. Are you panicking? You shouldn't.
Nope.
Is this an opportunity to get better? It is. Are the Lions going to learn a few things about themselves? They will. And sometimes you need to take an early L to kind of look at yourself in the mirror and say, what did I do wrong? And how can I get better? That's exactly who the Detroit Lions are. And I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again right now. A week 5 bye is going to help this team mend themselves mentally and physically to have a long stretch, which should be a Super Bowl run. And it's going to be much needed for them to get to that point as healthy as they can and fix the things that they need to fix during that time. I expect this team of leaders to put this team on their backs and get them in shape in no time. But look, if we make it to 2-2 by the bye, that's a win. I think that there's a big opportunity here for the Lions. But man, the Vikings are coming. They're a good team. They've got a great defense. Sam Darnold has an arm. I'm not worried about the Bears right now. They do not look good. And I'm not just throwing stuff out at Broski here. They don't look good at all. Caleb doesn't look good. Tomorrow we will do NFC North review. We'll do NFC North at 90. We're going to do our top players of the week tomorrow. So we have a good show lined up for you tomorrow morning. We'll see you guys back here at 8 a.m. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. We're 1-1. We're just fine. Don't hit the panic button just yet. Just, relax, according to Aaron Rodgers. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Have a good day.
Adam Schefter at ESPN. says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people, shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.